cafe anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
FF episode 2623, and Mike Matthews here in Podcaster Valley, the last place on
Mike's Daily Podcast.
The last place on Earth, Podcaster Valley, where the traffic is out of control. It took me all day long to get home so I could do this lyric roll, and then I lost my train of thought. I thought I would stop right there on FF episode
Mike's Daily Podcast
2623. The last podcast was called Alan, and this one,
Mike's
I don't know.
Daily
All those cars
Podcast
on the roads today.
Yeah.
And did you know that the average age of a passenger vehicle on U.S. roadways climbed to a record high this year as car owners hold on to their vehicles longer? Amid low supplies of new vehicles and sky-high prices, the average age of a light-duty vehicle rose to 12.5 years. I think my car is at least that old. Passenger cars up to 13.6 years, and SUVs and crossovers to 11.8 years. Rising vehicle ages are good news for aftermarket parts suppliers like AutoZone, Advanced Auto Parts, and you've heard their commercial, O'Reilly Auto Parts. They got the O'Reilly Automotive and Get in the Zone. They have such catchy jingles, I just realized. But yes, in Podcaster Valley, we only have do we have an AutoZone? No, I think we just have an O'Reilly. There are more than 284 million vehicles in operation on U.S. roads. That's up slightly from 283 million last year. And last year there was supply constraints that caused...
And here's today's podcast picture.
Low levels of new vehicle inventory, and then rising interest rates and inflation that reduced consumer demand in the second half of last year. By the way, did you hear inflation might be cooling? And then I was listening to Marketplace with Kai. Hey everybody, it's Kai Rizdal. Take a look at the markets on Marketplace. This is Marketplace. And they apparently... Oh, my friend's dog is named Kai. And I always go, oh, you mean like Kai Rizdal? Hey, speaking of dogs, the late great Basil the Boxer. Oh, yes, he would have just absolutely been bored to tears with this podcast. But that's okay, because we're talking about cars. And he liked getting in cars and going places. The Saturn View, particularly, is where we would transport him and go out to all the fun walks that we did. In fact, the podcast picture today is of a nice little area that I did take a walk in yesterday. Up at the top of Coal Canyon in what they call Columbia. Even though it looks nothing like Columbia, it is called Columbia. I don't get it, but it's a big HOA housing development that's been there for many years. But they've got a nice trail at the very top. And there are these two horses, Emma and Dice, that I like to see. And they are free range. They're walking around, eating grass. And so I'll stop by and say hi. And that's a picture from that yesterday. Not the horses, but just of Coal Canyon. See it at MikesDailyPodcast.com with the plethora of other podcast pictures that I've taken over the years, as this podcast has been on for over a decade. And that's why we're up to episode 2623. So I've had my car. I bought my car in the midst of COVID in 2020. And it's hanging in there. Do you know what I got today that made me so happy? I got the letter from the DMV that said, hey, you owe us money. Not that I'm happy about that, but the fact that there was nothing on there about getting the car smog. The whole reason why I have this car is because my last car, the Saturn View, it would not pass the smog test. And the smog guys would be like, oh, just try this and it'll pass. Do this. Do it's called you drive nonstop at 55 miles per hour for at least 5 minutes, and it does this reboot and it recharges the whole system, and you'll be able to pass the test. Nope. What I almost did was get into an accident. That was some scary times. I will never do that again.
You will travel into the incredible universe. Magnification.
Smog. I don't have to do a smog test this year. I'm very happy about that. So that was the good news. Hey, but back to the cars. In addition, the Federal Reserve's moves to raise interest rates 10 times. Yes, they've done it 10 times since a year ago, March 2022, have not assisted new vehicle sales. And then, of course, the average listed price of a used vehicle in April of last year, of this year rather, was what? Was $26,799. And the average price of a new vehicle this year in April was $48,275. Wow, that much for a used vehicle? Over $26,000. Dang. And the new Zelda is being, well, it's a good thing for Nintendo. Super Mario Brothers hit the scene back in 1985, creating a lifetime of loyalty for Nintendo. It is 38 years old and marching. Now the films, the theme parks, they're extending the attachment to younger generations. It's a huge thing. The Super Mario Brothers movie gave Nintendo its first massive hit. I think it's still the biggest movie of the year so far. Outside the gaming space, it grossed $1.16 billion around the world, at least. That was, I think, as of last week or the week. Actually, as of last month. It's probably well beyond that now. A treasure trove of much-loved characters and intellectual property is just waiting to be unleashed as we go outside a cafe anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast, somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on Earth.
Anyway,
there are characters like Mario, Luigi, Donkey Kong, Zelda, Kirby, and then Peach. There's Peach, too. The movie should boost interest in Nintendo's theme park efforts. With Universal theme parks in Japan and California, and with a third one planned for Orlando, they're doing these little Nintendo theme parks. On Friday, Nintendo released The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Actually, this was last month, which should be Nintendo's biggest software release in years.
The front panel will close automatically. Please remain seated.
So they sold, in 1985, they sold 61 million consoles. That was in 1985. In 2017, they had the Switch console. That has sold 125 million. So the most amount of consoles of all their consoles. Consoles. I think that'll be the name of today's podcast, is console. Because it's fun to say. Okay. Outside a cafe anyway, somewhere in Podcaster Valley, look who's here. Hello, Michael Masters, Madame Rootabega. That was very interesting. Oh! You know, people are probably listening, Madame Rootabega, to this podcast on June 14th. And June 14th is National Flag Day. Just in case. It's also national, just in case you didn't know that. It's also national, because that day seems to come and go, and people forget. It's also the birthday of the Army. It's also International Bath Day. Some of us need to take more baths than others. Not you, Madame Rootabega. You smell nice. Do you like taking baths? Yes. Do you like taking showers? Yes. Do you like taking a powder? No. I don't even think... is that even an expression anymore? It's also National Pop Goes the Weasel Day. And I guess something... Did you know it's National Cucumber Day? And that's fascinating because the cucumber is one of the most water-dense vegetables you can have. It is a vegetable, isn't it? Or is it a fruit? It is, but whatever it is so good. can go. My lovely lady friend and I were discussing it. I said, she goes, you can eat it for any meal. And I go, you can't eat it for breakfast. There's no way. She goes, yeah, you can. If you have like a bagel, you have a cucumber on it, make a little sandwich in the breakfast time morning. And I thought, oh yeah, okay. It is a fruit. Okay.
The Fascinating Material Project.
Well, wait a minute. The cucumber, also known as the Cucumis sativus, is a widely cultivated creeping vine plant in the family called Curbitaceae that bears cylindrical to spherical fruits, which are used as culinary vegetables, considered an annual plant. There are 3 main types of cucumbers. There's slicing cucumbers, pickling, and seedless. Yes, a cucumber is what turns into a pickle. I guess it's most cucumbers are seedless and require pollination. For this purpose, thousands of honeybees are annually carried to cucumber fields just before bloom. Cucumbers may also be pollinated via bumblebees and several other bee species. Most cucumbers that require pollination are self-incompatible, thus requiring the pollen of another plant in order to form seeds and fruit. It is often perceived, prepared, and eaten as a vegetable. It is classified as a pepo, which is a type of botanical berry with a hard outer rind and no internal divisions. So I don't know what it is. Is it a fruit? Is it a vegetable? Why don't you call me? That's a good reason to have people call me, is to tell me if it's a fruit or a vegetable. You can call me 510-861. No, wait. 510-228-4640. That's 510-228-4640. Look who else is here.
Hello day, Mike. This is Valentino, the parking attendant.
And this is Bison Bentley. Do you know that?
Mike, you should ask your AI friend what the heck the cucumber is, if it's a fruit or a vegetable.
Yeah, fruit or vegetable. Do you know that? Okay, let's see. Is a cucumber a fruit or a vegetable? Here we go. It's fascinating to me because AI...
Searching for cucumber, fruit, or vegetable.
Right now, it's reaching out to 1 trillion parameters is what AI is doing. ChatGPT, in particular, is reaching...
Hello, this is Bing. That's an interesting question. The answer depends on whether you use the botanical or the culinary definition of fruit and vegetable. According to the botanical definition, a fruit is the seed-bearing product that grows from the ovary of a flowering plant. A vegetable is any other edible part of a plant, such as the roots, stems, or leaves. By this definition, cucumbers are fruits because they contain tiny seeds in the middle and grow from the flower of the cucumber plant.
Well, there you go.
According to the culinary definition, a fruit is usually soft, sweet, or tart and eaten raw or in desserts or jams. A vegetable is usually tough, bland, or savory and cooked in dishes like soups, stews, or salads. By this definition, cucumbers are vegetables because they are crunchy, refreshing, and prepared in savory dishes like pickles. So, cucumbers can be considered both fruits and vegetables depending on how you look at them.
Thank you for confusing me. All to heck. And all that Bing-splaining. Well, I think we learned a lot on today's podcast. Whatever a cucumber is, I hope you enjoyed National Cucumber Day. Throw it in your water. It makes it nice. Throw it in your salad. I like what they do in Greek food with it. Oh, so good. I love cucumber salads. Dang. I better end it right. It's also National Strawberry Shortcake Day, but who cares? Next show, it's going to be the wonderful Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, John Deere the engineer, and with more ways to reach me, it's A-Friend.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com.
Email Mike now. at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye.